hands together for Sara Hennessey!
What's up? So cool! What's up? Oh, this whole thing? Hey everybody, what's up? It's so nice that you're here. I'm so stoked. No matter what happens tonight, I will be writing in my notebook that it went 10 out of 10. So let's all just take a load off. You know what I mean? I also really like the idea of like archaeologists digging up my notebooks one day and being like, okay, she was amazing. Like every time. She was so good. She even have to go viral once. That's so clutch. And I would just like my legacy to be clutch. How are all my 25-year-old friends on ketamine liking my vibe tonight? Isn't that real as hell? All my 25-year-old friends are on ketamine. I guess they all know a vet. So interesting. I have a lot of friends who are 25. I don't want to reveal my age, 52. But I hang out with a lot of 25-year-old people because I'm a creepy comedian. Oh, welcome to the biz. And then they do end up offering me ketamine. And then I'm like, how do I get out of this one? And then I figured, you know what I mean? The classic predicament, right? And then I figured it out. That when they're like, hey, Sarah, do you want a bump of K? I just go, I'm fine, thanks. I'm just working on a lifesaver. And you know what? It works every time. Because they're Gen Z, so they're like, valid. What flavor? Respect. I'm like, hell yeah, it's so cool. I also respect you. What are we up to tomorrow? So I live in New York, if you can believe it, but people can tell I'm Canadian like a mile away. I'm constantly being busted for being Canadian. People love it. It's a real witch hunt for me. It's crazy. It's like they can all just tell I used to have healthcare. It's wild. Yeah, healthcare vibes. I have to be very careful there. I do. Because if I get hurt there and I have to go to the hospital, there goes all of the money that I have or all of the money my loved ones have. The stakes are high, right? It's so wild. So I like to ride my bike around, ding, ding. And when I lived in Toronto, I would always wear one helmet. But now that I live in New York, I wear 3. That's right. One on my head and one on each tit. What's going on? What are we up to tonight? Let's go crazy. Sorry for going so blue. But sometimes you just gotta be yourself. So, a little bit more about me. I'm an incredible friend. I'm sorry to say it, but there you go. Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like, I'm very like emotionally available. I got a wide open schedule. I'm pretty healthy and strong too. That comes in handy. And when I first moved to the States, I didn't really have any pals down there. And so it was quite lonely and hard at first. But I knew that the benchmark of like true friendship or like a good beginning of a friendship would be if somebody asked me to help them move. And I know what you're thinking, help me move. Oh, I'm over with that. I don't like that. But what I wouldn't give. I really thought that was it. And so I was like, one day it'll come, one day it'll come. And then it did come in form of an email. That's right. A professional style friend emailed me and was like, hey, Sarah, I don't know what you think about this, but maybe would you be able to help me move? I was like, it's happening. It's happening. I was like, don't reply right away. Don't reply right away. I made myself take a walk around the block. Fastest walk of my life. I was like, my mind was whirling and twirling with all the memories we'd make. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't sleep a wink all night. I was like, How am I going to seed in the fact that I've never been to Europe? You know what I mean? Because later, when we're there in Europe together, we can remember the big moving day and how I mentioned it once. And then we'll kind of get matching anklets and skip down a cobblestone road. I don't know. So I got up bright and early and I got a treat to bring, you know? Because, you know, whatever. It's kind of like a weak move to bring a treat to make friends, but desperate times, right? And so a lot of people kind of go gourmet donut, right? You know what I'm talking about? Where there's like a donut on a donut and you're like, holy shit. Or sometimes people do fancy cupcakes, you know, when there's like a cupcake on a cupcake and you're like, oh my God. Yeah, that's cool. But I decided to bring croissants. Yeah. So a moment ago when we were wondering how I was going to seed in Europe, I think we just figured it out. I think we just figured it out. Couldn't believe it. It was a pink box with a string. I was like, I'm fucking chic. We're going to have a wonderful time. I roll up to the move, ready to go, ready to make an incredible impression. And then I was kind of disappointed to see that so many of their friends were there. Like a sea of pals. And I was like, oh no, how am I going to stand out? I was like, whoa. There was like so many people. Somebody grabbed the box and opened them up. And we're like, who brought croissants? And I was like, oh, like floating away. I was so stressed out. I was like, oh shit, what am I going to do? And then out of nowhere, I just took a leadership position. I was like, hey everybody, thanks for making it out to the move today. There's a lot of us here, so we're gonna want to get organized. And, you know, let's make this swift, let's make it count. And then my big suggestion was that we go down the hallway and pass off the boxes assembly line style. Don't you think that would be so nice for our memories? Like a musical about everyday people. They couldn't hear my screams. They were too busy crunching and munching on the billowy croissants. And I was like, wow, don't you think those would taste a lot better if we had them as a reward after the big move? Croissants are so sick though, right? Have you had one lately at a cafe, perhaps? It's interesting because, you know, you go in there just thinking, hey, I'm having a regular day. Then you see the case and you're like, who am I? I live only once. Why not have one of those croissants? Seems like a good idea at first. You look at it, you point at it, you get kind of bashful but excited when you order it. They give it to you, but the first question is, do you want it to go or to stay? Then you're like, holy shit. If you get it to go, they put in one of those crinkly bags. It's like, crinkle, 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 and everybody's like, ow, my ears. And you're like, oh. But if you get it to stay, it's like slippy slidey on a plate. And you're like, whoa, whoa. And then you go to a table and it's also like wobbly, and you're like, whoa, and it looks dumb on the plate. And then all eyes are on you, you know? What's your plan to eat that thing? What are you gonna do? Hamburger style? Hot dog style? You gonna try to be casual and rip it? You're gonna lose half to the breeze. Pressure's on. So what I'm suggesting is some sort of modesty curtain that's available in all the cafes, Canada and US. We'll worry about Europe later. You know, like kind of like a croissant cubicle, okay? A place where you can go in and just like let it rip. Be yourself. Get it all over you. Crumble, no problem. If it gets all over your shirt, you can just chip bag it into your mouth, you know? Not wearing a bra, no problem. You're behind the modesty curtain. Dinner and a show, only for you. So anyways, that's my pitch to you sharks. Have some paperwork lined up. I need all your signatures and all your money. That's so sick. I did go into a cafe a little while ago, and immediately before even ordering, I could tell the barista hated me so much. Have you ever had that experience where they're just like, they want you dead? And it was so nuts because I was like, and she was like, no. And it made me laugh though, because I knew that one day we will be best friends. I have no doubt in my mind. I love a project. I'm not going to come on too strong. Slow and steady wins the race. It'll be great. It's happened before, honestly. People think they don't like me, and then the next day I'm walking them down the aisle. That's right. And their father is still alive. And they have a fine relationship. But I'll get in there. The thing about cafe lifestyle that kind of like blows my mind is this situation. You know when you're sitting there working on your screenplay or whatever, and then somebody else comes up to you and then they're like, hey, do you mind, would you please, and you're like, oh, here we go. You know what I mean? Here we go again. They're like, do you think maybe you could, would you please watch my, and it's like, you want me to watch your laptop? Look at me in the eyes. I will do anything for you. Get in the bathroom. Take a while. I hope you have some health concerns in there. I hope something goes wrong. Because your machine, your items, they're all safe with me. Over my dead body will someone steal your 2014 MacBook Pro. Told you I was strong. No one will fuck with me. Anyways, yeah, I love people. So it's so cool that people are alive. And when they're not, that's okay too. That's right. That's what I came here to talk about tonight. Oh my God. Brick wall, huh? Pretty classic. If you didn't know what was going to happen tonight and you came in and you saw this brick wall and this stand, you'd be like, I get it. I get it. Nope. Still forget it. That guy? This guy's here too? Can't wait to utilize it later for sure. When I get to the sex bits. Anyways, exposed brick is something that people go crazy for. You know what I mean? You ever go like apartment hunting and you see a place with exposed brick? You see it and then you're like, I'll take it! I'll take the place! I'll take the place! And then the like landlord is like, wait, you should know a couple things about this place. And you're like, no, give me the place! Because you can't help but picture your life with the brick wall, the exposed brick. And you're like, it's a perfect life, it's a perfect life. And then they're like, people were murdered here. And you're like, that's fine. And then they're like, it was a double homicide, actually. And you're like, good for them, you know? And then they're like, the whole neighborhood was really sad and still are sad. And I'm like, fuck you! You know, give me the spot! Because you imagine what it would be like. And like, you're like, my friends will come over and they'll regard the brick, you know? We can take some photos together in front of the brick wall. Maybe I'll give stand-up a try. Get practicing. That'd be so sick. I used to have this idea for like a reality show. Actually, maybe I'll pitch it to you guys. So it's called Exposed Brick. And how it works is you all line up. Yeah, sorry, you're all involved. And one by one, you come in. And then I show you a wall and I go, what are you gonna do? You're gonna paint it, you're gonna leave it. You're gonna paint it, you're gonna leave it. And you're like, I'm like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And I put a gun to your head. I'm like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna paint it, you're gonna leave it. And you're like, I'll leave it. I'm like, that's right. You do leave it. You do just leave it. That's right. Okay, now here's your commemorative brick and send in the next person. And it's just that forever and ever, amen. Yeah, so I don't know. I got my fingers crossed for like a pretty cool exec that will green light that. Yeah, I don't think it'll be a problem. Really short episodes, 30 seconds. And that's what people don't even have an attention span. Like, I'm surprised you guys haven't sunken down below your chairs yet. It's great. I want to say thank you. Sinning. Sinners. Do we have any sinners here tonight? Any sinners? Yeah, all right. I know, what an edgy question for me to ask. What is this? Sins. Wow. Do people really talk about sinning that much? This is the thing about sins. There's sins, like classic sins, but people don't really know what's a sin anymore because everybody's gotten real fast and loose. So I thought what we could do is talk about the different types of sins, and then you can decide whether you will be going to heaven or hell. I thought I would help out this group of 54 people. Are you guys into that? Okay, cool. So what you're gonna tell me one of the 7 deadly sins, and I'll just do a quick impression of what that is, and then you can see if that's what you do in your life. Can I get what are the 7 deadly sins? Gluttony? Manja, manja, manja! If you're saying it more than twice, bitch, you're going to hell. Another deadly sin, please. Greed? Oh, that's a good one. So greed is when you're like looking. Okay, no. Greed is when you're at Chipotle, and then they go, "Do you want extra guac?" And then you're like, "Yes, please." And they're like, "It is $2 to get extra guac." And you go, "Yeah, I want extra guac." That's greed. So if you do that, sorry, going super duper to hell. What's next? A third one. Another 7 deadly sin, please. Wrath. Good choice. Wrath. So wrath is a word that nobody's kind of like slapping out there too casually anymore. Wrath is like anger. That's like a fancy word for anger. So maybe you can try to use it 3 times tomorrow. The word wrath. Here's my impression of wrath. You're going down the highway with your ex-wife. She won't shut her yap, and you go, "God damn it, Carol!" That's wrath. I'm sorry. You couldn't keep your cool. You're going to hell. Is that 3? Okay, 4. What's another deadly sin?
Sloth.
Sloth. Put a fork in me. I'm done. That's sloth. At the end of a long day? Sorry. I'm in hell. You're there too. Forget it. Number 5, please. Envy. Oh, my Lord. Envy. Who couldn't relate to envy? Oh, dear. I'm envious of that. Envy is this. It's 1988. All right. You've worked a long day. You open up your window and you look it out just to see that your neighbor just got a goddamn brand new Lamborghini. And you go, "Oh, fuck. Look at that thing. Look at that beauty." That's envy. So, hell for that. 2 more. Right? 2 more. Pride. Oh, thank you. Pride. That's when you look in the mirror and you say, "I like what I'm looking at. I like it." I just realized my tongue is blue. That's great. Wow. I was like, make sure the lenses are soft. I get torn up online. If people see me at all, like, make sure I look good. And then it's like, you can dress her up, but you can't take her out. You know what I mean? I'm going to hell for this blue tongue. So yeah, it feels like confidence, but really it's pride, and that's a sin. And then we have one more. Is that right? One more. What is it? What is it? Lust. That's when you go, "Hiya, boys." Sorry. And I know you're all been doing that. So anyways, that was the 7 deadly sins. Give it up. Now you know where you stand. Repent, I guess. Or you know what? Let's just have a party. It's already hot. So you guys take the subway? Anybody take the subway here tonight? Woo! Okay, great. I knew we'd connect on something. I love taking the subway. My favorite thing to do on the subway is to crack open my book and scream the words, Chapter 1! People go hog wild for it too on the train. I think it's because people like a new beginning. It's like a universal truth that I just stumbled upon. So cool. Oh, I started taking Pilates, like reformer Pilates. This is so funny. Or not, maybe not. But I think it kind of is. It's called reformer Pilates. Do you know what Pilates is? It's like yoga, but really stiff. And reformer Pilates is when you slide on this board back and forth and all this stuff is happening. Anyways, I was really scared to go because this is some hot girl shit, right? This is working on your micro muscles and stuff. And so I was like, what's gonna happen? I had to like hype myself up. I'm like, go. But then when I arrived, I realized I had nothing to worry about. All the hot girls were just staring at their own reflection in one giant mirror. I could have done anything. They would never have noticed I was there. And they weren't looking at their form. No. They were just looking like deep into their own soul holes. They were getting to like third base spiritually with themselves. It was wild. It was so cool. But then the one thing I kind of noticed is all these machines have all sorts of like bits and bobs and pulleys and knobs and levers and ropes and all these different things. And I'm like, this isn't hot girl shit. This is steampunk. Like, fuck off. I'm looking at these chicks and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're wearing a Skims unitard. You may as well be wearing a top hat with goggles on it. I'm fucking out of here. But no, they made me buy a 3-pack, so I gotta go twice more. That's how they get you. And then they make you buy these little socks too. They're like, if you don't buy the socks with the little sticky pads on it, you might die here today. And you're like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah, and they're $17. And you're like, what? Can't I just wear my regular socks? They're like, there's no way. These machines are too powerful. So then you buy the $17 socks. And do you know what kind of slippy stuff is on the bottom? The same as when you got as a kid with like that your aunt gave you in your stocking or something. That they just have like really minimal sticky pads on the bottom. Maybe they're in paw prints or some shit. So that way you couldn't scoot around on your like linoleum floor as much. And you're like, what's the point of these, you know? Or you couldn't scoot around on your tile floor or marble if you're rich. Anyways, I don't want to scoot around. But now I have these socks, so there's no getting there. I ride my bike around, so it's really hard for cat collars to get me. But when I'm on foot, I have to be very careful. Because in the summertime, I like to dress like a huge slut. Because I'm a fucking bitch. And I'm a gigantic cunt. So if I don't dress the part, no one's gonna get my vibe. So while I'm walking around like a slut, I'm really scared when I start to approach like a man or a couple of men. I'm like, oh God, please don't talk to me. Because whenever they do, it's like makes me feel really powerless because I don't know like what to say back. Like they're like, sexy or something. And I'm like, no. No, thank you. Like, you know, and that's not like an empowering moment for me. So I've been sort of like trying to look for a way around it. And I found a solution. When I'm approaching somebody that might remark on my physical appearance in any way, I just pull out my phone and I pretend I'm making a call. And I gotta tell you, they respect it. I can't believe it every time. They respect it. I get on the thing and then they're just like, oh, no problem. Clearly, she is buying low and selling high. So you can use that too if you'd like. Sex, huh? Can you believe it? Can you believe sex though? It's crazy. Like, think about how much we think about sex, like a pie chart. We're thinking about sex, and it's so crazy, right? And because only a sliver of it is how much we're actually doing it. And I think that's the most adorable fraction in the whole wide world. It's even if you're someone who's like, nah, I'm doing a lot. I'm sorry, it's just a slice. It's not as much as you're just existing and breathing and hanging out. Sex is so cool because it's like so like carnal and like nature, and you're like, whoa, and like blood and guts. Well, I don't know. And it's like all for like pleasure and feeling good, and you're like, fucking. It's like it's so wild the way we do that. Even the like man in my brain who's like pulling all the levers and moving my body around and giving me thoughts and stuff, he's like, this is nuts, you know? And I'm like, be cool, be cool, be cool. You know? If you're asexual, no problem. I know that you get intimacy in other ways. Anyway, but I think sex is so crazy that it actually blows my mind that I don't stop in the middle of doing it and go, whoa! Fuck! Look at us go in all the different ways we please. This way and that way and this way and that way and this way. We love doing it. And I trust you, you know? And I trust you. So cool. So I decided to take a minute for that. I don't know, I just learned about it, so I thought I would talk to you about it. And I just want to commend myself for staying in character, you know, and not breaking while I'm in the boudoir. But I am a pretty incredible actor. Industry, please rise. None? Okay. Yeah, I love to act. It's one of my very, very favorite things that I've been doing ever since I was a kid. Take lots of acting classes, and that's for when you go, it's like going to the gym, but for your deranged emotions. It's kind of crazy. But people don't really realize how physical and in the same breath, dangerous acting can be. Like, I was in acting class and I actually put out my neck really badly from nodding in agreement at all the notes the instructor was giving the other students. I was like, yeah, you're gonna wanna do that. Oh! Oh! Don't worry, I used the pain for the scene after when I was up. Any other actors here? Shut up. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're actors. When I look into this crowd, all I see is headshot, 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 headshot. Looking great, everybody. Hollywood, here we come. Let's go together. So cool. But watching like movies, it's all research. So I like to watch old-timey movies because I'm deep. That's right, movies that take place in an olden time. They're so great. But there's something I've noticed in my watchings. It's just not a period piece unless the main character is getting washed in a bucket. If that doesn't happen in the first act, check please. I'm hitting the bricks. This isn't authentic. I need somebody being scrubbed in a basin and being told of their father's disapproval. So I don't photograph well doing stand-up. A lot of people like to snap a shot here and there. But the problem is when next morning when you get the Dropbox folder full of the photos of you, you can't help but have a little bit of hope and excitement before you open it. You can't go, maybe there's a hot one. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's one where I like look really hot doing what I do. And then I open up and I'm just like, no! No, 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 no. Ah, no! What was I talking about? In my mind's eye, I'm just like, But in reality, it's not that. It's crazy. I just look, in all these photos, I just look like a cartoon that just ate poison. I'm just like, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I just talked about going to Sears. Like, will I find love? You know? So I was on a plane ride a little while ago. Some of you guys might call that a flight, no sweat. We can't all be brain surgeons. It was interesting though. I was on this flight and the pilot came on the intercom and he said, hi everybody, I'm your pilot. My name is Ryan, but everyone just calls me Coconuts. And I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I was like trying to like sarcastically meet anybody's gaze. I was like, do you guys fucking hear that? What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me right now? Coconuts? I was so fucking pissed, man. Like, I don't want jokes in the sky. No, thank you. We all know that they're best below ground level. Really pissed me off. And it's crazy because, like, I can't drive personally. I haven't learned yet. But I know I could land this thing better than Coconuts. Another thing I like to do when I'm on plane rides is I always like to gesture to the flight attendant that I'd like to say something next when they're making an announcement. I'm like, it hasn't worked yet. But I guess if I do get that thing in my hand, I guess I would say, my name's also Coconuts. Everybody, so what are you gonna do with that information? Someone starts screaming. Like, you know what I mean? It's too fucking crazy, dude. So there was some construction happening outside of my house. And you know when you get woken up by construction, it's just like epic upset, you know? You're like, what's all this then? What's happening? Like, and then I go and I like open up the curtain and I see outside it's this man like with a jackhammer, you know what I mean? He's just like, has this jackhammer and I'm looking at him and I'm like, look at that guy. And he's just jackhammering away. I'm like, does this fella have any idea how classic he is? That's construction. So I'm not a critical thinker. Like, I don't think critically. At all. Like in high school, there was this kid that wore a Dracula cape every day to school, like all 4 years I was there. And I never asked him about it once. We had multiple classes together. To me, he was just Jeffrey. I wonder how he's doing, you know? Hey, you know when people are obsessed with pugs? You know when people really love the dog that is Pugs? That style of person? The style of person who really loves pugs so much. They have pug socks, a pug mug, probably a legitimate pug as well. And they have conversations about pugs ready to go. They can't get enough. But this is what I've noticed about people who love pugs. They love them, but then they like to talk about what's sad about pugs. Like in the next breath, you know what I mean? They get off on it. They're like, oh, I love my roly-poly pug so much with all of his wrinkles, but there are sores in his folds. And we can't get to all of them. Or they're like, I love my pug so much. He's so cute with his little snout, his little squished in face, but he was genetically engineered to have respiratory issues. Bred. Do you know what that means? Force fucked. With other stupid noses until it got to the smallest, dumbest nose. And they can't breathe. I'm like, okay. Like, stop it. Your boner is showing. Insane. They just love, I think they love the dynamic of like loving something and then it's like on the razor's edge of complete sadness. And I totally understand that. Welcome to life. But I realized the type of dog that I feel badly for are herding dogs. Herding dogs, that's right. Dogs that have, by nature, the need to herd, okay? So like a lassie dog or a Sheltie dog, which is like a smaller lassie, you know, or an Australian Shepherd dog. The ones that people are always like, look at that coat and those frosty eyes, you know what I mean? Ooh, an Australian Shepherd dog. So I'll paint the picture. I'm sitting in the park with a couple of pals. We're all relaxing. There were so many different groups of pals. You were all there. Everybody's lying on their sides, you know. Some people are lying on their stomachs. Some people are talking about astrology. Some people are explaining astrology to the other person. You know, some people are drawing with charcoal in their beautiful notebook, and some people are smoking a pinner for the first time in 8 years. It's kind of a nice park vibe, okay? And out of the corner of our eyes, everybody starts noticing this beautiful dog just sort of doing laps around everyone. And slowly I noticed people kind of clocking him, being like, oh God, that guy's so cute. Oh, look at that dog. Wow, look at his great coat. Ooh, look at those frosty eyes. Look at him go. Look at him go. Look at him go. And I didn't want to ruin the vibe, but I couldn't help but think, that dog is in hell. Because we're all just sitting here and he's doing everything in his blood nature to round us up. And we aren't moving a muscle. That dog will never be truly happy. The only pleasure he'll know will be in the sweet release of death. Unless you get him over to the Scottish moors or some shit. Outlander. Get him over there. That's his only way. Anyways, so who here has any pets at home? Anybody adopted anything? Oh, cool! It sounds like you're kind of passionate about that. I like that. Sounds like they were kind of into the thing you adopted. That's awesome. The thing that's so interesting about when people adopt a pet is that they do it simply by the picture and a short description and just meeting them once. And then they're like, you're in my life forever. And when you start to get sick, I will spend all my money on you. That's how it works with pets. Nobody ever knows anything about their past, truly. They might think they do because somebody wrote something, but we don't know it to be true. One time I was living with this cat, Reuben. He was like this fat orange cat, wasn't my cat, somebody else's cat. We both just lived there. And the interesting about Reuben is that every time he meowed, no sound would come out. So he'd always go like this. And we loved it too at the house. Every time he'd open his mouth and no meow would come out, we were chuckling. Absolutely. Having a laugh. Having a real laugh at Reuben's expense. Poor Reuben. And that went on forever because that's what he was like. And one night, it was the end of the night, and it was just me and Reuben. We weren't going to fuck or anything, but it was just us. And I was petting Reuben, and I was looking into his eyes, and he gave me a classic. And then for some reason, something about that time of night and how fucked up I was, out of nowhere, I was like, wait a minute, what happened to you? We have never asked. What happened to you? And I'm looking into his eyes, and he's like, and all of a sudden, I just like ratatouille back to like when he was like a young, spry, thin orange cat, and he like lived with like a cool gangster dude, and they were like just thick as thieves, those two. And then one day, the guy's number was called, and I'm guessing somebody just broke into this house, and they killed the man for doing something bad. And then meow, you know, meow, screamed Reuben. Meow, help for meow, help meow, my owner meow. You know, it was like the 50s, there's like a cool song playing. Meow! The murderer's left, it's just him and the body. He's like, meow! Meow! Days turn into weeks. Meow! Meow! Weeks turn into months. Meow! Mine's turned into a year, and he's like... And then one day a landlord is like, don't I like own a property? And he opened it up, he's like, look at this huge cat! No body. The cat will eat your body. We all know one thing about cats, and that's it. That's how we got so loud. Anyways, thanks for coming down Imagination Alley with me. So sick. You guys are so sick and cool. So, you know when people are in long-term relationships with like a person that they're in love with? You know when people are in that situation, they need to spice things up? Have you ever heard of this concept? People are like, we gotta spice things up. We aren't fucking, we gotta spice things up. Intimacy is important. So when people want to spice things up, like in a typical relationship, they usually say, hey, I got this crazy idea. I'm gonna put on a wig. You put on a wig. We're gonna meet at like a bar and pretend we don't know each other, and then it will be really hot. I saw it in one episode of Girls, so I figured that's how it works. And then then maybe they screw, maybe they fight. I don't know, whatever, it's exciting. But since I'm single, I like to spice things up for just my career. And this is how I do that. Before I go to a show, I pretend maybe I'm not on the show. Like even my own big show tonight, I'm like, before I walk in, I'm like, pretend you're not on it. And then I walk in, somebody's like, quick, we need somebody to do some jokes on the stage right now. And they're like, we need somebody to do 5 to 7 minutes. Who can do it? Who can do it? You know, preferably somebody who's semi-camera ready. Who can do it? And I'm like, I can. And then they're like, this is a microphone. Have you ever used one of these before? And I'm like, no. And they're like, there's no time to explain. Get out there. And I go out. I'm like, what's up, everybody? How's it going? Celiac. People are dealing with that. Politics. People are upset. Body image issues. Gay. You know, we're all like, and then everybody laughs and it's so exciting. That's how I spice things up for myself, is by pretending I'm not on a show, but then I am actually on the show. And also, that's my impression of stand-up. I'm just kind of sick as fuck. So are you guys thinking about dating? Yes, you are. I think everybody's thinking about dating. Like, you're either thinking like, wow, I gotta get back out there, I gotta be dating, or you're like, oh, I hate dating, what a shit life, you know? Or maybe you're thinking, I'm on a date right now. In some capacity, it's happening in your brain. Like when I was a teenager, I was certain that everybody was thinking about school all the time, you know? And I remember being like, everybody's thinking about school. Like, it's all anybody's thinking about. And sometimes we'd be like driving down the street, I'd be passenger, you know I can't drive. And then we'd see somebody walking by, so I'd like roll down the window, that's how old I am. And then we'd go like this, school at somebody. I go, school at someone who's walking by, because I picture them walking, and then somebody's like, school, and they're like, I was thinking about school. Yeah. So that's how we are now as adults, but about the concept of dating. We're all thinking about it. And here's the issue with dating. It's the word dating. I think it's too loaded. There's too much. When somebody hears you're going on a date, they're like, oh my God, you are. You're like, I'm not gonna buy her corsage or anything. They're like, consider it. There's just too much like weight, too much pressure with the word date. So my pitch to everybody is, I don't think we should call it dating anymore. Let's just call it hanging out. Hanging out. Oh, isn't that so chill? Oh, let's hang out. Sure, let's hang out. Sure, you never know where you stand with someone, but it's so much easier to get into the hot tub with someone's ex-wife. It's just, we were just hanging out. That's legal. Lock me up, throw away the key. Anyways. So one time I was hanging out with this guy for like 5 years. And we like lived together and we knew each other's families really well. It was like a long hang. But then the census came around. You guys know this thing? The census came around and I was like, I'll do the census, you know? And so it seems easy at first. They're like, who are you? And who else is there? And I'm like, got this, me, that guy. And then it was like, and who are you to each other? And I was like, whoa, government. be cool. But it couldn't be cool. It had like multiple choice. It was like, are you roommates? I'm like, we're more than roommates. Are you kidding me? We like 69. Like too much for years still. We can't get over it. And we do it rude style. Like we're screaming into each other's asses. I know Latin out of nowhere. I don't know how I learned it. It comes to me when the moon is full. So no, we're not just roommates. And it was like, are you married? I'm like, oh my God, that's so chuggy. Married? Married. Like, what do you want me to do? Like that at like an altar with like a pumpkin spice latte in one hand and a peppermint mocha in the other? We're getting emmed. I can't believe it. Vows. No, we're not married. And then the third and final option was, well then, are you common law? Common law. What kind of Rumpelstiltskin style word is common law? By the king's decree, I do pronounce you common law. Now, kiss in front of the whole kingdom, would you? Yeah, so I just put we were roommates. And it did not last too much longer after that. But you know what's interesting? If we lock the doors and stay here for over a year, we'd all be common law. Kind of baller. It's kind of a baller fact. But I wish that they would like have a blank space where you can say what you think your relationship is. You know what I mean? Like I'm a creative writer. Let me write what I think it feels like. Because do you know what I would put for our relationship status? Meal pals. Meal pals. Meal pals. That's when you have somebody and you really care so much about what they have for meals. You see what they have for breakfast and you're like, yeah. And then like later you check in, you're like, what'd you have for lunch? You're like, woo, you know? And then you're like, look into your pocket. I put some tamari amas in there. I love ya. And then they come home later and you're like, we've already discussed dinner and now we're making it. And then you're like, dessert. And then you're like, 69ing. And then you go to bed and you're like, what will we have for meals tomorrow? Meal pals. Now that's comforting. I love doing stand-up so much, man. It's so fun. It's so cool and exciting and nice and weird and bad sometimes too. But it's like really good to be doing stand-up in this day and age. Because like, if I was doing it in olden times, like my ancestors, the court jesters, if I was doing it back then, even if you guys all had a blast night, if it didn't go over with the king, I could get beheaded after this. Isn't that crazy? I'd be like, I was so good. And he's like, I didn't like it. And then I die, a full die. Now the worst thing that can happen after it's said is I leave feeling weird. Oh no! I feel weird. All right. I've done my time, so now I'll begin the hospice portion of my set. That's when we know I'll be leaving soon, but we're not quite sure when. And some of you are like, oh my God, I'm just starting to get to know her. And other people are like, let her go. You ever take the bus and you're the only one on there? Has that ever happened to anybody here? Yeah, it's a crazy feeling. Because you're like, is this allowed? Is it okay that I'm on here? Whoa! It kind of like feels like you're like in a liminal space or something. So if that hasn't happened to you yet, here's my advice. If you get on a bus and you're the only one on there, just play it cool, all right? Play it cool, act totally natural, all right? Take a seat and pay attention. Because if that driver gets tired, you're up. You gotta make all the stops. You can't just go by all your old apartment, sorry. You gotta switch outfits. You gotta share a sandwich. You're gonna wanna pack one of those. That's right, I'm ending on a cute joke. But don't get it twisted, honey. I came here tonight to fuck.